Good day, good season of resilience. Hello, everyone. This is Tonya from Freedom at the Crossroads. I'm a women's fit lifestyle coach and empowerment speaker, blogger, and podcaster. How is everyone holding up through these difficult times? There's a lot going on community-wide, on the global front, and it just brings home my mantra for this season, which is resilience. We are in a time where a lot of change is in process, is in play, not just in terms of the health and wellness arena, the environment, but also in terms of social justice and how we treat each other as human beings. And I just wanted to offer some words of encouragement. One, this is something human beings have dealt with throughout history. Two, change is inevitable, and that is a good thing. Actually, we should welcome and embrace change because it's only through change that we see progress, that we see improvement, that we see growth and opportunity and hope. And this is the time that we need it and that we need to embrace it. There is a lot of ugliness in the world today, particularly as it pertains to social justice, as well as environmental justice. There are a lot of ties and connections between social justice aspects and environmental justice. And you see that playing out in things pertaining to how even corporations dispose of waste in certain communities versus others. The way in which justice is unequally meted out depending on what community you're from. We see that playing out on the world stage with the protests that are going on around the globe, sparked by the murder of an African American man here in the U.S. But I don't want to leave hope. And the whole heart of this whole thing is that hope is what we're all going for our next generations coming up, and we want to make the world a better place. Resilience is key, and I always talk about this within the context of health and wellness, because truly, if you are going to see the next show, so to speak, on the world stage, if you want to be there to really impact the world around you and change the world around you, you have to start with your own health. If you are not healthy, if you are not whole, mind, body, spirit, there's no way that you have the focus, that you have the perspective, that you have the ability to effect those changes that you want to achieve. And so I want to pull us all back into modes of reflecting and really embracing hope, because that allows us to see that throughout history, throughout the centuries, the decades, the millennia that human beings have occupied this space called Earth, we have had to navigate difficult spaces in one way or another. We've had to navigate extreme environmental and climatic change. We've had to navigate social injustice, social justice, however you want to call it. We've had to navigate war, famine, all of this. And yet, humanity as a whole has still managed to thrive, and not just survive, but thrive. And we can all do this. And we can all do this on a greater scale if we will come back to self, truly embrace self, and dare to evolve, dare to embrace change, dare to own who we are and reclaim our power. Because when you reclaim your power and you reclaim your sense of self, that is when you are the most powerful. That is when you're able to effect change. That is when you're able to break the silence around injustice, the silence around a whole myriad of issues that need to be addressed in this world if we ever hope to make it a better place. And so my words of encouragement are these. Work on yourself. Develop yourself. Personal development is key. And we see so many examples of humanity gone bad when people don't self-develop. You see that in terms of leadership in this country. The person who occupies the Oval Office here in the United States, that is an extreme case of non-development, if you will. And that's all I'm going to say on that topic, because I'm trying to keep things as apolitical as possible. But at some point, you need to call out things that are not right, things that are evil, things that are unfair, things that need to be changed. And so that's why I spoke on that just a moment ago. But by and large, we have no control over the actions of other people. We only have control over self and the boundaries we set in terms of our interactions with other people and the world around us. In other words, when you self-develop, when you self-care, when you do the hard, necessary work, ask those uncomfortable questions of yourself, go into those difficult spaces in yourself, that you have the capacity, the power, and the courage to open your eyes and look external and look outside of yourself and change the world for the better. It's only when you do that internal work that you're able to reclaim your power. And that is even true and so much more important when you look at self-care, the context of self-care. Because what is self-care? Self-care is taking ownership. Self-care is self-advocacy. And you can't do any of that if you have not done the internal work, if you have not grown and developed yourself and taken those places within yourself, found your power, shored up those areas that need in yourself that need to be addressed, that are wounded, that need healing, with truth, with compassion, with perspective. If you haven't done that kind of work, how do you expect to do that external to yourself? How do you expect to change the world around you for the better if you can't even change yourself for the better? And changing self, embracing change and development and positivity within your own sphere of existence, owning that is powerful stuff. And that is beautiful and empowering even to other people. When you grow and develop your own light, your own wholeness, your own self, you gain confidence, you gain critical thinking abilities, you gain focus. There's so many gains to doing personal development work, and I feel like this pandemic has called all of us to account. It has forced all of us to face uncomfortable truths within our own lives, within our own selves, within our own environments, and within our own communities, our own nations, whatever part of the globe we occupy right now. This pandemic, because it's forced us to stay in place, get off the crazy hamster wheel going nowhere, we've literally been forced to deal with all those things we've been running away from. And the fact that another African American man was murdered by law enforcement in this country. This is something that has been playing out historically for years. Many of us in the African American community and diaspora have been witnesses to this for years, have even had it committed against us. It's just that some of us, luckily enough, have managed to, survive those encounters relatively unscathed. But that does not mean this has not been happening. It's just that the pandemic that kept us all in place, that has literally forced all of us to acknowledge and embrace our consciousness and to become so much more aware and mindful, that in the wake of this murder, everyone was just shocked and awakened that it has literally sparked a global social justice movement. And that social justice movement has moved on to other areas that need addressing as well, within our nations, within ourselves, individually, within our nations, within our communities, even within the world. And that's why this movement is burning across the whole planet. But that's not to say things like this have not been happening. It's just that the right temperature has been reached in all of us, for the most part, that the power and the waves of change have been activated. And so this is a powerful time for change. This is a powerful time for change for ourselves individually and collectively. These are powerful opportunities, and we need to take advantage of them and embrace them. And this is not a time to feel hopeless, to feel helpless, to feel disengaged, to feel like nothing is changing for you, because the truth of it is change is here for you. Opportunity is here for you if you will embrace it, if you will dare to embrace it. And I fear that, if I fear anything really in this moment, is the fear that many of us will miss this opportunity, just like a comet that comes once every 100 plus years. It's not coming back. And we need to all get on that train of change. Embrace the train of change, people. Get on that train of change. This is our time. This is our season, particularly for women. If you will look in the streets, most of these movements for gender equality, for social justice, period, have been led largely by women. And women younger than my generation, and women of my generation, and women who came before my generation. And I am just so invigorated by that. Yes, there's sorrow that it came to this, but the realities of change and evolution are never easy or without challenge. And so knowing that reality, knowing that fact, knowing those facts around change, around progress, around development and evolution and beauty, gives me hope and empowers me to embrace change, even though I don't necessarily know what that's going to look like at the end of the process. And so I just wanted to encourage everyone to embrace that. And I thank you all for listening and tuning in. I thank Cielo for inviting me to speak on this and to offer some words of encouragement. I apologize for the lateness in this presentation. It's just that a lot has been going on. And also, as someone who also works in the healthcare field, it's been a roller coaster, but thankfully I've been able to navigate it appropriately as much as I can. Not perfectly. I embrace my humanity in that. Nothing is perfect about humanity. We see that every day. But I just want to thank you for listening to my words. And I just want to encourage you, you can do this. You can navigate this space. You can do you. You can embrace you. Know that you are an original and there is no one like you. There are no duplicates. There are no copies. You are an original. And the gifts and the bounty that you bring to this plane of existence are uniquely yours. Open that package. Embrace those gifts. Once again, this is Tonya from Freedom at the Crossroads. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.